No, I get to do it. Good evening. Tonight we have, as you may have noticed, this is a new night for Moments of Magic. Jean has reduced some of her resistance and has joined a new learning modality, which happens to be on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. So we had to break down resistance to move away from our old time and move to this new time. And so Jean thought she would talk about resistance for tonight's Moments of Magic. And we have a couple of them that we can present to you. Jean?
So I wanted to, resistance is a thing, it's a common thing that recurs for me from time to time
For everybody.
for everybody and also especially for me because I can only really speak to my experience. So when it does come up, it really is about me getting ready to take another leap forward, almost invariably. And so when it comes up, I uh, I have to look at it. So lately it's been coming up. The other day I had a client where it came up. And she was asking me about resistance, and we were working with that a little bit. And normally, when that happens, it's obviously it's for me as well. So I thought, okay, I've got to look at this and figure out where am I holding on to some resistance? Where am I holding on to some fear? What is my hesitation with moving forward? Or where am I holding that in my body? Is another question I ask myself. And so and it was interesting because in this reading that I was doing, it came up as a doorway, and I'm very familiar with that doorway. And it seems like every time you take a step forward, the doorway can present itself, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, you're going too fast. What's going on here? So when I see that doorway, or when I feel that doorway, or when I feel that hesitation within me, I know it's just an old fear that's coming up to release. And since we have a very potent new moon next week, not new moon, full moon next week, where it's really a good chance to let go of a lot of things. So I thought, well, I'm going to look at my resistance, see where I'm holding it in my body, and maybe do a little ceremony around releasing it. So I have there's a few stones that I feel are really good to work with that resistance. And I'm gonna use one of these on one of his favorite stones. He really doesn't like this. He doesn't like the feeling, but we're gonna use him as a demo. These are a few stones that could help you if you're looking for where you're holding resistance or stuckness in your body, or if you know that you're sort of having some resistance, but you don't really know where it is or what it's about or why or what the actual fear or hesitancy is. So the first one that I want to look at is it's called Creedite. This is a particularly nice Creedite from Mexico, and it is a really good stone to sort of zero in on where you might be holding this in your body, in your emotional field, in your mind. So I'm just going to show you what we could do, just a short demo. Now he's going to have to be resisting going, "Ee." So say he's holding thoughts of resistance. I would be like gritting and I do this to myself as well, just gritting the field, and you'll feel like a stuck place, maybe like right there. That's a thought that's resistant. and no,
And
and
on the recipient, it produces an odd feeling. I refer to it as a squeezy feeling. I can explain it in much longer terms, but it just feels like you're being sort of squeezed a little bit.
So when you run into a place like that, for instance, if I ran into it on my own self, I would take the stone and I would hold it in my left hand and I would ask, what is this? I would go within and I would ask, Why am I feeling stuck? What is the thought that's keeping me stuck? Sometimes, many times, it's on my solar plexus. That's an amazing place where many things get stuck. So I could use this to sort of draw out the energy from my solar plexus. And you just do it as a drawing. Almost like you go into the field and you draw it outward. But if you meditate with it, it's going to give you some really good information and clarity on what is this? What is this resistance I'm feeling, and how can I work with it? And here's another one.
Here's another interesting little stone that actually this is aragonite, the kind from Morocco usually. And it has these little ends on it, these little terminated crystal points. Oops. There. And you can actually pass those over the person that you're working on, or you can hold them yourself. And the way that it acts is it kind of absorbs the negativity or the resistance into the ends of the crystals, at least for me.
It's almost like a little sponge or something.
I don't know.
So
is that focused?
Yeah, sort of. It's yeah, and that's a good one. It's really an interesting stone to sort of remove any of the stuckness once you get in there and really understand what it is. Another good one that I like to use is hematite in quartz. Hematite moves stuck energy. It absorbs stuck energy. So this is a really nice one to use. You can use it on the physical body as well in places where you're feeling stuck, or if you're holding resistance in a particular place. This almost acts like a little vacuum cleaner. This one's nice because it has hematite in the quartz and hematite on the quartz. It's growing. The black is growing on the quartz, and the orange,
the red is inside.
Red is inside the quartz.
Or sometimes it's also on the outside. This is peculiar because you have two forms of iron on one stone.
Yeah, it's these are interesting stones, and these from what I can feel so far are for doing very deep work. I feel like you can get a lot of depth going. Another way you can use this is to sort of open the third eye. If you're having trouble getting a hold of the vision or seeing the vision, it's a good one to really, open your vision up. And the other one that I really love for this, and this is basically just to move energy. This is a ruby, and ruby helps to move. It energizes. It moves energy because it is so highly energetic. The energy has nowhere else to go but out. It also connects you to your heart. And it keeps you connected to your heart as you're meditating or really working with letting go of resistance. So I would encourage you on this new full moon to experiment with some of these things. What I like to do is I like to get some clarity with the creedite, and then maybe journal it, write it down on a piece of paper, and then use fire as you can burn the paper as a release, or you can, there's many different ways you can use fire to sort of release the energy. You can pull the fire into your body with your hands, and that's also a good way to move the energy out, and then feed that place. So this is a really good way to work with resistance. Did you have anything to add?
Hours and hours worth. There's all kinds of ways.
Reader's Digest.
That resistance manifests itself in corporeal beings, us. Sometimes you just don't even notice it. So every once in a while, you kind of have to sort of do your own little quick search to see where you're holding resistance. And sometimes it turns out to be a physical block, and sometimes it's a mental block. But you all know that. I mean, these are things that we all know. And the nice thing is that there are some tools available that can help you focus on that and use your own tools to help you move beyond various kinds of resistances.
And move beyond where you are now, which is what it's all about. Just growing completely all the time,
Which is the magic of the whole thing.
which is the magic. Thank you. Anyway, we will be featuring on our next live sale stones that work with resistance. So that will be on Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time, this Monday, the 14th. So we hope to see you there. Yes?
Well, I was just thinking, I wonder if at this change of season with these astrological things moving us, there was whatchamacallit the other, like last week,
Eclipse.
an eclipse. There's kind of the stuff is moving. So when stuff is moving, resistances become a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah, good
So,
point. Yeah.
So happy
So notice.
autumnal movement.
Yes, yes, exactly. And we hope to see you Monday. Thank you so much for showing up.